is there any, when you talk about this, like, is there any commonalities that you really see as like the biggest financial mistake camp leaders are making as the summer goes on? That's just something that they like, if they could just top of mind weekly, always keep track of, like, what would you say is their biggest financial mistake?
So I would say the easiest one to track is your staffing. Make sure you're not overhiring, make sure you're not bringing in extra people, you're sticking to your budget, and hopefully you made a forecast so that you changed your budget if enrollment went up or if enrollment is behind. Because if enrollment's behind, you don't want to have that same staffing that you had. But the other piece that you really can monitor during the summer is many of you will have program directors or procurement people on your team, making sure you're checking in with them that they're not over ordering, that they're not ordering outside of scope, that they're not ordering extra things to just make sure they have stuff on hand,
Yeah.
because you want to make sure that you're keeping your dollars tight through what you should be budgeted to.
And when you say that, would you even recommend bringing these folks into the financials so they can understand what's going on? Or how do you feel like is the best way? Are you the mindset of like, you should be sharing this knowledge with everybody, or that you should be carrying that burden when you're as you're operating it as well?
Look, you hit the word, carrying the burden. Nobody should be carrying the burden themselves, especially in the world we live in here. You have teams behind you, you have teams with you, you have teams supporting you. Use those people. If someone is your, say, program or procurement person, whoever's ordering your arts and crafts supplies, your sports supplies, let them know what the budget is. Let them know within reason of what your expectations are. Don't do it on your own. Make sure you are there to really guide them, but that they have, I like to give the team ownership, I always did, is to make sure that they have ownership of what they're doing. And if you're not giving them or sharing with them that information, they don't have ownership for it. So you're going to be behind the eight ball when they come back to you and said, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know that we were so far over. So don't keep it to yourself.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Um, Wonderful. So then, let's say a camp is running over budget. Like, they get a few weeks into camp and they start really recognizing like we're just spending too much. Where do you feel like they should look first for savings? What's like your first move in that moment?
So I always want to make sure we are tight on the program supplies at that point, especially when you're mid-season. But a lot of camps, at least when I, owned or ran our camp, we had, I would say, 85, 90% of our supplies ordered before camp even started. So that we weren't doing much ordering during the summer. So there's not a lot of leverage that I would have during the summer to make adjustments. What I really looked at very tight during the summer season is our staffing right? Are our program staff overstaffed? Is there any place that I can make adjustments without getting out of ratio? Because that's always first and foremost is making sure you're staying to your programmatic ratio and delivering your program the way you promised your families. Because otherwise, you might be cutting $1,000 here, $2,000 there by getting rid of a staff member here or there. But then the next season, the parents aren't going to come back because they don't trust you. But is there a way to, do you have four assistant sports people? So do you have a basketball lead and you have a couple of that float? Could you get rid of one of those? Is it possible to let go of some of the support staff that aren't keying an area that you want them there and your program will run better if they're there, but
Yeah.
you don't financially have the capability to keep them on the staff? Because the only dollars that really have leverage ability during the season is your staff. You can't not serve food to the kids if you're a camp that serves food. You can't, your insurance is paid for, your program supplies are paid. Your only leverage that you really have during the summer is your staff.